I guess I'm going to start recording then. Seems like the thing to do.
I'm gonna do the same, actually.
I feel like it's a step we need to take, really.
Yeah. All right, you know what?
Spilling some of that cancer agent.
That's right.
Okay.
You know what time it is?
Millet time?
Time to clap.
Time for a clap. A good old-fashioned clap. You ready? Ready to do this thing? Ready to get started?
Would it matter if we weren't?
No.
Okay.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
How do you feel about that?
I feel pretty good about it.
Yep. As claps go, that wasn't so bad.
Yeah. All right. So a heads up to you. What I'd like to do.
Yeah, CJ didn't give us this warning last week.
Oh, we're just gonna roll right into it again?
We're gonna roll right into it, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna record the intro at the end of the episode.
What?
Yeah. We'll try this.
But this will require. So what happens when you decide you don't want to edit this, and suddenly the intro really is at the end of the episode?
It'll be fantastic for people who are listening.
Okay.
I've never been more confused in my life.
Yep.
Also excited, strangely aroused.
Okay.
Aroused since,
all good things.
Started.
Yeah.
Oh, that was me.
Oh wait, you wanted to what? Who? What now?
Just talking about my arousal.
Okay. Let's talk Mario Kart 8 here for a second, and I want to bring up a article that showed up on our favorite website, Polygon.com, a few days ago, and the headline
How have they
is,
changed the face of games journalism this time?
How many times has the review score changed so far?
Well, it hasn't changed yet, but who knows? Here's the headline: Mario Kart 8 will likely be the worst-selling game in franchise history. Here's why.
They
guys?
They don't really want you to click that story, do they?
Not at all. You won't believe what happens when. Yeah.
Oh my God!
You won't believe what happens next.
I hate Facebook now for that very reason.
Yeah.
Man plays drums on plastic buckets, and you won't believe what happens next.
Man drives car to work, and you won't believe what happens next.
Gross.
Writes an article that Mario Kart 8 will likely be the worst selling prank. Anyway, did you read this particular article? Yeah, either of you?
I did.
No.
I enjoyed one of the most dubious pie charts I've ever seen. I mean, I get what they're trying to do, but what? What?
Well, this is the tip of the iceberg for their new research-based coverage.
That is
moving forward.
The pie chart in question compares Mario Kart series sales to hardware sales since the Super NES.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right, that's relevant, sure.
I actually thought it looked kind of impressive. It showed that 25% of people who buy the platform buy Mario Kart. That seems like a lot to me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe I'm dumb.
It's not a bad attach rate.
Yeah.
True.
One game.
So their graphs, of course, showed that only 1.26 million people are going to buy Mario Kart 8. But that doesn't take into account sales after this point. That takes into account only sales up to now. Like if 20% of the current installed user base buys Mario Kart.
Sales of hardware. Yeah, because they're going to continue to sell hardware.
They're going to if Nintendo basically shut down hardware and didn't sell anymore, that might be a correct assumption. But the fact that the Wii U is not off sale and will continue to sell more, that... to me, the
bigger problem with that whole thought process is in the first place is that, like, if you're talking about Super Nintendo, for example, Mario Kart came... Well, the Super Nintendo was quite a healthy console. There was a ton of games out for that thing. There were a ton of Nintendo games out. There were a ton of third-party games. So Mario Kart wasn't your only option.
What else would you expect from the greatest console of all time?
There you go. But like you look at something like the Wii U, and games are pretty thin on the ground. So when a AAA title like Mario Kart comes out, pretty sure you're going to have a higher attach rate. I would be surprised if you don't have a higher attach rate than you did for the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, me
if
too.
You're going to use this logic. I'm just saying that logic is flawed. Which, but anyway.
Indeed. If you're a Wii U owner, you're probably starved for good games, and your one comes along, you're probably going to buy it.
Right, exactly. Just like the early days of any console, really, but the Wii U hasn't taken off the way they needed it to, so I think you can still sort of look at it that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But whether it is or it isn't, so what?
Exactly. Well, that's the other thing. How is this newsworthy or feature-worthy in the least?
Well, to me, what it is it's just a continuation of what I see as the press enjoying Nintendo's market position in any way possible by producing clickbait articles like this where they know they will get Nintendo fans incensed and they know they'll get fans of the other systems nodding their heads in agreement. And to me, I mean, what does that get the overall market? What value does that bring to your readers or the industry as a whole?
Zero.
Yeah.
I mean,
you might get the opportunity to say "I told you so," which is always gratifying. Everybody knows that.
I mean, that's what we've been in the throes of all week with the Kinect as well, right?
Yes,
right.
Exactly. CJ. Exactly. But you have a game that the reviews hit a couple days ago. Polygon gave this game a 9, and in the same breath is dancing upon the grave of the Wii U and saying, "Isn't it great that this platform is dead?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right then. Games journalism. It's fantastic. I was looking forward to the follow-up article where they, since Microsoft announced that Halo 5 would be coming in 2015, where Polygon took the install base of the Xbox One right now and described how it was going to be Halo 5 would be the worst-selling Halo game in franchise history based on the current install base of the One.
Based on the attach rate of the first episode of Halo for the first Xbox.
That's right. Exactly.
Man.
That would have been brilliant. Brilliant.
I got to save something for later.
I guess so. They'll get those hits in 2015.
Yep.
All right. So, should we talk about the Kinect?
Let's talk about it. Why not?
Yeah. So last week, Microsoft.
Let's listen to CJ dance upon a grave. Let's listen to CJ do all the things he just condemned Polygon for.
Potentially. So Microsoft announced last week that they were going to release a SKU of the Xbox One without the Kinect
God,
sensor.
I'm glad you said SKU. I was hoping you would say SKU.
Well, okay, stock keeping unit.
Oh, that's way better.
Of the Xbox One without the Kinect for $399.99, coming out on June 9th.
The most disappointing thing about this is that nobody ran the headline, Microsoft urges consumers not to buy an Xbox One in May. That's what I really wanted to see.
Well, do you think how do you think this Kinectless SKU will affect their sales overall?
I don't think by itself it will affect their sales much at all. If anything, what will happen is what Mike just said. For the first 3 weeks, nobody will buy an Xbox because they're going to be waiting for the Kinectless version.
Their May numbers, their May numbers are going to be disgusting.
This alone is not going to fix anything, but it's definitely what they had to do. And I think it's been coming a long time. I think, personally, I feel like Titanfall was the litmus test.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like that did the numbers they wanted it to do. So, everyone didn't rush out and buy an Xbox for Titanfall.
No.
So now it's like, okay, so we have a weak library, so does Sony. We are still $100 overpriced. We're still the weaker system.
Mm-hmm.
Got to do something different.
There's still a weaker system at $399.
Yeah, but at least there's price parity there. Unless you're in Canada, then it's $50 cheaper.
Well, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, to me, price drops and rebundling things like this work if you have like a lineup of games to go along with it. And I'm not just talking like one or two. I'm
That's
talking
E3.
about a sustained release calendar. And when they're releasing this new Xbox One in June, they don't have anything, right? I mean, they don't have anything until when? August, September?
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Sounds
exactly.
weird.
Nothing about this is going to turn things around. But this is
nothing about this one move. Although
this is a step, and they had to do it. Like that, it comes down to that. They had to do this because they needed to drop the price, and the only way to drop the price to where it needed to be, or close to where it needed to be, was to get the Kinect out of there.
Yeah, that is true.
It makes Phil Harrison sound like a dumbass for saying whatever it was. He said something like, Xbox One
is the platform.
Kinect. Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's what it is. This is the last straw of completely reversing their product vision.
Sure.
Like they designed this system around things that now are no longer going to be factors at all.
Yeah. Although that was a proven losing strategy last November. Really.
True. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, and they did start that turn. You're right. It's the final. It's sort of the ultimate move of the road they started going down before launch last year when they backpedaled on absolutely everything. About the system.
Yeah, I have never ever seen or heard of a consumer product that has reversed course on everything. Everything. Every little detail seems to have completely gone out the window.
Which means now that it really does come down to games, and neither one of them has any games, which is fantastic.
Yeah. Exactly.
Not until the fall.
Yeah, even then, neither one of them really has. I don't know. It doesn't look like the fall is that amazing to me for either one of them, personally.
Mm-hmm. Which honestly plays into Microsoft's hands in a way. Not that it means that they're going to come out on top, but it still means they have a chance.
Yeah. Well, there are plenty of people who, I know from the previous generation were huge Xbox 360 fans who were just sitting on the sidelines waiting. Right. They were not going to buy the Xbox One because it was $100 more. Mm-hmm, so you might get them now. So the fact that there are no games other than Titanfall and some paltry offerings this fall might play into their favor. But
well, no, what I'm saying more along the lines of the fact that and who knows what they're actually going to show at E3. I feel like you. I think that Sony and Microsoft are going to have I'm afraid they're going to have a very disappointing E3 as far as they're showing. I hope I'm completely wrong on both counts, but if that ends up being the case, if Sony doesn't have much outside of what we already know, that plays into Microsoft's hands in that hopefully they don't lose more ground in the U.S.
Sure.
Well, some of what we already know on both sides, some of those games aren't coming until 2015 anyway.
Right.
Well, and they're certainly not going to show anything new at E3 that suddenly, and that'll be out this fall. I mean, nothing of significance anyway.
That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Although, there was also the announcement that Microsoft has Halo 1 through 4 coming for the Xbox One this fall.
I'm really curious if that's the selling point that people might think it is now, because wasn't the reaction to Halo 4 pretty lukewarm?
Yeah, it was lukewarm, and there was that story on GAF talking about research, by the way, that guy did looking at the numbers of players online for that and how it dropped off within the first 4 weeks of that game's release. I mean, I think it's pretty clear that Halo isn't as big a draw as it once was.
Well, they also kind of screwed people on that too. They had that whole concept of, what was it called, Spartan Ops or something like that, where they were going to do basically a season of episodes, and that never really materialized into a whole lot.
Which I thought it was a cool approach, but the problem there was that
but you have to actually do it.
Well, they did do some of it.
They did it.
They did some.
But it turns out that nobody really cared
Nobody
about
gave
that.
a shit.
So
Again,
yeah,
going back to nobody cared about Halo 4.
Yeah, and then what was it? A few months ago, they announced that they'd bought Gears of War off of Epic. So I mean, there's always the case that they may be able to rush out a Gears of War something for the fall.
That's true, isn't there? Is it a Vancouver studio? No, what studio is it that's working on Gears?
Yeah, but they've already announced that that's not this year.
That's not this year.
Okay, well,
no.
and Quantum, whatever the hell.
Quantum Break, people are talking like that's this fall, and if it is, I actually will buy an Xbox One. But knowing Remedy, how in the fuck is that going to be this fall? Give me a break.
Yeah.
I would love that. I would be ecstatic. I'd be dancing naked in the streets. But that
what was it? Happen. 5 years from the first time we saw Alan Wake to
something like that. It was ridiculous.
At the time it was released.
Yeah,
it was worth the wait.
Oh,
but
God, yeah,
it was a hell of a wait.
Yeah. This is the issue now. So Microsoft's basically done everything that they can, and now it's just a matter of games. They've got neither system, neither the PS4 or the Xbox One has backwards compatibility to fall back on this time out. They really have to do it through exclusive games, and
they have a new clever monetized version of backwards compatibility though that's called re-releasing our old shit.
That's right.
Like Halo and The Last of Us, and
Or if you're on the on the PlayStation, it's the PS2 classics.
Yeah, we don't have backwards compatibility unless you want to buy them.
We decide to re-release
one at a time.
It's funny because going into this generation, and especially because of last generation, I felt like no backwards compatibility kind of sucked, but wasn't really a big deal. Mm-hmm. But man, it has become such a big deal. I mean, like my PS4 does not get turned on right now. I'm playing my PS3, and if it wasn't for Forza, if it wasn't for me picking away at Forza, I wouldn't be turning on my Xbox One either.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's the sad thing is there's just not. It doesn't look like there's this big flood of great stuff on the horizon either. So it just seems like we're going to be, I don't know, getting some semi-satisfying titles piecemeal here and there for the foreseeable future, which really
and a whole lot of indie games.
And a lot of indie games, which
is good.
I'm good with. I like that. I'm not as pissed off as Arthur was on Rebel FM when he said that
garbage?
There is, quote, garbage being announced for the PlayStation 4 every day.
Daily, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You just got to go listen to the episode. He's in fine form.
Pretty brilliant. He's talking about the strength of Microsoft's lineup for the fall and how all that's being announced for the PlayStation are garbage indie titles.
Huh. So, alrighty.
Yeah.
Well, and that was after they'd spent the whole episode praising a bunch of indie titles. But
this is the other thing, though. So I found it kind of funny that just the press in general was heaping praise on Microsoft for this move when it is unlikely that it's going to move the needle in the short term.
Well, the thing is that I think it's another example of the press allowing themselves to be led around by a PR machine. You know, I mean, it is a good move. From a business standpoint, it is a good move. It brings them price parity. Arthur actually made a point on Rebel FM, which I totally agreed with. It opens up markets that they were holding back on because the Kinect has problems with different languages and different.
But they released in plenty of those territories that have those issues. I have friends in New Zealand who can't talk to their fucking Kinect because
there you go, right?
whatsoever.
But then that becomes a non-story as well. So I mean, there is an upside to it. So I mean, it definitely is a good move from a company standpoint. From a consumer-facing standpoint, I do agree. Like CJ's been talking about this on our web board all week because he's CJ and he's angry about it. The dream is dead.
I'm angry about it.
The dream is dead. The whole point of the console is now completely moot. It's right. It's another console.
I think that's valid. Yeah, because when you're talking about, I mean, speaking of things that the press did, people that bought lock stock into their vision and how they what their vision of the future of a console was. What is their vision now? Like, is there a vision now?
What is their vision now?
It's just a less powerful PlayStation 4 that costs the same as the PlayStation 4.
Right.
That's right. And the hardware itself was built around a lot of this stuff, like TV, right?
Well, the UI is going to need a total overhaul for people who
it's gonna
don't
need a
have
complete
Kinect.
overhaul. The TV stuff is not going to work because all the IR blasters are in the Kinect. So goodbye on that stuff. And
that's just it. I mean, before you could probably, like, if you were having an issue with even navigating the UI, or like the way Snap works, let's say, or to record something, like if you had a problem with the way that worked on a controller, the answer could always be, well, plug in that Kinect and use it.
Yeah.
But now you're not going to have that. Now that can't be go-to excuse.
Well, they also built the machine and the controllers. The Xbox Gem doesn't have the little lights at what player number you are, and they built the Kinect so that it could tell which player was holding which controller.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
They're not going to be able to do that. The whole Xbox Record that thing is basically, I mean, you're going to have to build that in the UI somewhere, and that's going to be really clunky.
Well, it's already clunky. I mean, any of that stuff, like snapping is another good example.
Snapping is clunky.
Yeah.
I will admit that for sure. But and some of the stuff that they had showed off, like the skin pigment stuff, like being able to tell whether you're tense or not or whatever, like all that stuff that they were touting basically goes out the window because now a developer can't be sure that somebody who bought an Xbox One has the Kinect, whether it's
the beauty of that for them is now that it all goes out the window, people can go ahead and assume that it was real to begin with, like scanning your skateboard with the original Kinect, because there's no evidence to prove that any of this shit was ever actually going to work.
That's true. And Microsoft themselves just never released or announced any titles that took advantage of any of that stuff.
No, and I mean the legend of all of this, their original vision, grows over time as people, start to wonder what could have been. I've heard people talk about their family sharing program like it was going to be the greatest thing ever, even though Microsoft was never able to elucidate that. But somehow the legend has grown into epic proportions.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
But I still have to go back to it. Like, I'm leaving my Kinect hooked up because it's still. It's still very convenient for a lot
Greg,
of things.
let me ask you this, though. You're leaving your Kinect hooked up. What if Microsoft is able to use the 10% horsepower that
I'm curious about that. I'm curious about that. Is that even right? I know that was
another one of those things that is like the stuff of legend. Is this actually true?
Come on. What are you going to do then for people who leave the Kinect hooked up? You're going to make the experience worse for them? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
See, that's what I'm saying. I don't think that that's even the way it works, but I could be totally wrong. This is completely out of my ass, but like I know that that's how it worked on the 360 because originally the Kinect was going to have brains.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they took that all out, which was one of the reasons that the Kinect never worked all that well on the 360. Right. They took all that out, and they had to reserve that power for the, on the actual 360 if you were going to use the Kinect, and I can speak to that definitely being a thing because I actually worked on a Kinect game, so I know that that's true. But my understanding was with the Xbox One and the Kinect that all the brains are in the Kinect.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's that level of power reserve on the main console to use the Kinect. I could be wrong about that, but I for some reason I was convinced that that's not the case this time around.
Right.
Either way, it's a silly thing to write an article about it and claim it as fact when you don't know.
Well,
right. Make assumptions.
Going back to our favorite website, Polygon.com, they had an article whose headline was all about that, and then they didn't even talk about that until the last paragraph, and then it was only a hypothetical, not using quotes from anyone at Microsoft to back that up.
Well, even more than Microsoft, I haven't heard a developer come out and say, oh, sweet, now we'll finally be able to use this extra horsepower that we didn't have access to before.
Yeah, right, which makes me think it's not a big deal.
In fact, the only thing that I've seen from developers is, oh shit, I was working on a Kinect game. And
yes,
God damn it.
A lot of that.
And now we're back to where we were. Really. I mean, they've got a split market, and just like they had with the 360 and the Kinect.
Right.
Well, they've got a split market. They announced the Kinectless SKU without announcing a sold separately Kinect at all. They're just like, stay tuned, it's coming in the fall.
Yep, I just listened to Major Nelson say that on his podcast. That
Which is
we'll
like,
be
what?
announcing in the coming months how you can buy a Kinect.
What the hell are you going to do to sell that thing then? If people didn't want to buy it before, what are you going to be doing to make that?
Well, that's their real problem. Is they had, I don't know how many years since the original Kinect. What was that? Was that 2008?
8 or 9, I think. Yeah.
So we're 6 years in, and there have been 1 or 2 games that showed that Kinect could be fun.
Mm-hmm.
And aside from that, there's been nothing.
Right. Dance Central, which I always see at the Microsoft store in the mall, people playing that still.
Personally, I think Child of Eden was awesome.
Yeah.
But
it was 2010, by the way.
Was it 2010?
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, and the onus of that is always on the platform holder, the person who is creating the peripheral, to demonstrate, here's how you make an amazing game with this peripheral, and they never did that.
Or even why it's worth making this game.
They sort of tried. They had the Kinect Sports Rivals thing, and the Kinect Sports Rivals series sold pretty okay on the Xbox 360, and then they also
it was not
did the
good,
whole.
Though.
It was not good. You're right. And then they had the whole Xbox Fitness thing, which they touted quite a lot.
Kind of good. Actually, I with my original Kinect, I actually did like the Ubisoft. What was that? Your Shape or something that.
Yeah.
Fitness Evolved. That was actually kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Although it wasn't doing a whole hell of a lot.
There were a lot of cool things you could do with that, but the problem was that it was such a new style of interface. I mean, you couldn't really wasn't analogous to anything else. Like, you kind of wanted to look at it and say it's like a touch screen, but it really wasn't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the huge problem with that is
and
the thing that making a new Kinect that's even more accurate or whatever does not solve is it doesn't matter if the Kinect knows exactly where you are in the room. I don't know where I am in the room.
Right.
For the Kinect, like, I have to put my hand up and orient myself. Okay, I'm right there on the screen. Okay, now I can do something. So it's never as quick or intuitive as they want it to be.
That's a really good point, actually. Quick and intuitive. That is something that you struggle with making a Kinect game. And the problem is that, again, now that the market's split, but even before the market was split, no one perfected making Kinect games. Not really.
No.
And so from a development standpoint, I mean, you've got a lot of R&D that you have to throw into something like that, even for the front end to be usable.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to justify that money and that time somehow, and you can't. And now you really can't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure the Harmonix guys are tickled that they weren't able to get Fantasia out before this announcement.
Yeah, exactly.
Although, man, why is it taking so long to do friggin' Fantasia?
Is that
no idea.
Published by Microsoft, or is...
I don't know.
It's 360 and Xbox One exclusive.
I'm guessing it's published by Microsoft then.
Probably. And who knows if they were doing another Dance Central game for them too, for this, for the Kinect?
I don't know.
I think
would be
if Microsoft
unlike
wasn't
them
standing there with a big bag of money asking them to, they're nuts.
The other surprising thing is just the Twitter reaction that nobody apparently knew that this was coming before it hit. Like, the developers of these games weren't informed that, hey, next week we're going to announce a system that doesn't have the Kinect. Although they probably should have seen the writing on the wall. The fact that it was done this soon is pretty interesting, unique. You figure we're only 7 months in, 6-7 months into the console's life, and they're already making these kinds of changes.
Well, some of the changes were, as it was getting ready to be released too. So.
Well, yeah.
They've been in a little bit of turmoil
mm-hmm.
for the last 7 months.
But hey, Phil Spencer now. You know what I'm saying? He's a games guy.
But he was there before.
Guy, Spencer. I know. But now it's Phil, I'm a games guy, Spencer, and E3 is games. Just so you know. Also, I love you, and the check is in the mail, and I promise not to come in your mouth. Just all the whole panoply of famous lies told.
Famous lies.
Wow.
What? What are you drinking?
Maybe those are just ones I've told.
Yikes. Well, So this news didn't stop analysts, of course. One of them saying that the Xbox One is now going to overtake the PS4 by 2015, based upon this news.
Yeah, see, to me that's insane.
That's
Again,
completely
it could be
insane.
the first
But
step
it's
to some
in
master
North
plan
America,
that'll do that.
right?
Yeah, because they pretty much lost Europe, right?
Right. In North America, it's relatively close. It's not like PS4 has an insurmountable lead in North America. I think they've been tracking pretty close.
And that's
So
the
I
thing.
could see that happening.
Unless one of these two companies announces some major surprise games next month,
which I'm not counting on.
I don't see that lead. That's true. I don't see the PS4 leaping out to some huge lead this fall.
Yeah.
Well,
unless
the
they
thing about
come out with a price drop or something, you never
That
know.
would be hilarious
That would
if
do
somehow at E3 they were like, we're going to drop this $50.
Yep.
So now it's $350. That'd be
get a price war going.
awesome.
That would be pretty cool.
We're going to drop this $50, $10 in Canada.
And we're going to include 2 free games or something like that.
They go the other way and say, they took Kinect out of the box. We're going to go ahead and put the PlayStation camera in the box. Same price. $3.99 and you get a camera.
And we added an HDMI pass-through.
Oh my God!
Is that camera still sold out? Everywhere?
I have still literally never seen one in the stores.
It's available everywhere here.
I've seen it several times in stores.
Canadians hate to see themselves on TV.
I cannot recall going into a store since launch and not seeing one of those cameras for sale.
And I have literally never seen one in a store after launch. Not once.
Man, there's a lot of home videos being made on the PS4 in Utah.
I know. I'm missing out. I should be making those.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous.
All right. So I think we're done with the Microsoft Kinect talk.
Kinect forever. Mine's staying connected.
Games.
Although to me the problem with even with exclusive games is you don't have a very high installed base now, and Microsoft doesn't have any demo kiosks. You know, like I've yet to see an Xbox One demo kiosk that's actually running a playable game. They're all
except at Microsoft Store.
Except for at the Microsoft Store, right?
Yeah.
Which, come on.
But yeah.
Nobody goes there.
The Best Buy ones are just videos, which is kind of a bummer.
Yeah. I've seen PS4 kiosks with controllers. Nothing for the One. So even if Sunset Overdrive is awesome, which I think it looks really, really great,
it sure does.
You got to get that in front of people. How are you going to do that?
Is Sunset Overdrive online only? Multiplayer only?
I don't think
it
so.
actually has a store. Okay.
It has single player, yeah.
Sweet. I learned my lesson with Titanfall.
Yeah,
You're not playing that anymore?
I got rid of it.
Really?
Got rid of it?
Yeah. It was still worth $30 on trade-in at the Shop of the Future, and I only paid $40 for it. So I had stopped playing it. Not that I liked the game, but I just I
liked it too. It was just not exactly. That was just not going to be a thing for me.
Yeah. So lesson learned.
Yep.
Alrighty. Well, Ubisoft has announced Far Cry 4 for this fall.
With Buddy on the cover.
On like every platform imaginable. How about that? Excited? Mike, you're a fan of Far Cry?
I'm absolutely excited. I love the Far Cry series, yeah. Give me more of those. Yeah. Make sure I can set things on fire, and I'm a happy man.
And they already announced pre-order bonuses, too, so I'm sure that you're happy about that, right?
This is one of the first games to ever do that. Did you see the... I think someone posted it on our forums, the chart of exclusive content and different versions of Watch Dogs, and it looks like the most convoluted Excel spreadsheet ever. It's hilarious. There were what are there, 10 different versions of that game? It's ridiculous.
Yes. Welcome to the new face of video game retail.
It's crazy.
Every retailer needs a special pack.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll play me some Far Cry 4 though, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm interested in because all we've seen is the box art, right?
Yep.
Box art and character art, and that's it.
Yeah, did you ever... You finally got around to playing Far Cry 3, right? After you played Blood Dragon?
Yep, Blood Dragon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
And you liked Blood Dragon more, didn't you?
I love Blood Dragon.
Yeah, I seem to remember having this insane conversation.
Yeah, we're not going to
before.
have this.
I seem to remember having this insane conversation.
Yeah, we're not going to have this fight right now.
It's a great game. Come on.
Hmm.
And to wrap this up, Microsoft re-announced, because they had already announced that Halo 5 is coming, but so they re-announced it for fall 2015, with the caveat that the journey is still beginning this year, which I guess may mean
so they're doing like Ground Zeroes,
TV series, TV.
Right.
TV series, and then Halo 1 through 4 remaster instead. I thought it was just going to be Halo 2 redone, but the new rumor is 1 to 4 redone. So
see that means there's 3 games I don't ever want to play again, and 1 game I really like. And then Halo Reach and ODST both aren't there. So
did you which are these games that you speak of?
I was not crazy about Halo 2, 3, or 4.
Really?
Especially 3 and 4. I'd say probably 3 is my least favorite, but
my favorite Halo games are actually ODST and Reach. I think those are my 2 favorite Halo games.
And I love the first Halo, but it has more to do with kind of the nostalgia for because
playing Blood Gulch with your friends.
Exactly, like playing it on. Well, that was the thing. Like CJ
or
was
a LAN party.
We played that on our network at work after work every day.
That was awesome.
I loved that game. Never got into multiplayer on Halo 2 because at that point it was only online for me, and I just didn't care.
Yeah.
I did get into multiplayer on Halo 2. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, but ODST and I thought ODST and Reach were fantastic games, personally.
Yeah. All right. I guess that's it. I guess that's it for
that's our show, everybody.
All right. Sweet. Good job, everyone.
So what we should do now is we should take a little break, come back, and we'll talk some games and do some tweets.
Games?
That sounds like hot sex.
All right.
I think I'm actually going to go get a drink or something. Go make me a Phillips screwdriver.
Yeah.
Go do it.
Or just get a juice box.
So Quantum Break is the game that will get you to purchase an Xbox One console?
Definitely.
Is there anything else they could possibly do at E3 to get you interested in the system? What does Microsoft have to do to get you in an Xbox One today?
Send the sales manager over, bring me a can of Coke while I wait. I don't know.
Yeah. I like that Sunset
Quantum Break
Overdrive
would do
game.
It.
I think
that does look good.
Now at this
actually,
point,
when I saw the first couple screens of that, I thought, "Oh shit, is this a new Ratchet and Clank game?" Because I didn't really see any characters or anything in them, but the art style looked sort of Ratchet and Clank-ish.
Yeah. Looks good. Yeah.
I can't wait to do this intro.
This intro that's going at the end of the show?
I'm excited about this intro.
Yeah, me too. This will be good. So we've got episode 400 coming up of the Player One podcast. This is episode 393, of course. A few off. It looks like we're going to be recording that July 4th weekend, which will be fun.
That means nothing to me.
Means nothing to you, of course, up there in Canada. But so I thought this would be a good opportunity to change up the album art that you're seeing on your iPods, the logo, and maybe the theme song too. So we've got a little bit of a contest going on. Go to playeronepodcast.com. You can check out the information on that stuff. And we've got posts on our forums as well about all that stuff. And it'd be good to mix things up. We've had the same album art and same theme song for, 300 episodes now, coming up upon
quite a while.
300. So thought it'd be a good opportunity to change things up. What do you guys think about that?
Sounds like a super plan, CJ.
I'm all for it. So we're aiming to close these contests the week before? Yeah, 6 weeks from now.
That's correct. Yeah.
And what are people going to get if they submit something we decide to use?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, Mr. Gregory J. Seward. We're gonna give them a $100 gift card for
American dollars,
a digital store of their choice, or Canadian dollars.
Wow.
No, you want American dollars.
So okay, maybe American dollars. For Xbox Live, PSN, eShop. Your choice as the winner.
Steam?
Or Steam, yeah, we'll do Steam too, sure.
Google Play Store?
No, that's where I draw the line. No Google Play. So yeah, check out that information at playeronepodcast.com. And get cracking.
Show your
Get
skills.
cracking on that stuff. Show your skills, exactly. All right, so let's talk about some games.
Right. Did anyone play anything this week?
Are they still releasing those? Because I haven't really noticed any.
I've been playing Mario Golf World Tour still.
Doesn't for those who were confused by our kind of lack of organization as far as the Mario Golf World Tour situation was going, the tournament is starting this week. The actual tournament. You can go to our boards at playeronepodcast.com. And if you go into the gaming forum, you will see the actual official Mario Golf World Tour thread.
Yeah.
It'll have all the tournament codes in it. And I believe it actually starts on Monday, right?
Yes. Starts on Monday.
Yeah.
And there's also the For Fun tournament that is going on.
The Tour Fundament?
The For Funament that changes every week on Wednesdays. And there's also a topic on that on our forums as well. So... yeah.
Come play.
Come play with us. It's fun. We actually had quite a lot of people join in on the preseason tournaments that have gone on.
Which kind of sucks because it means that I can't even crack the top 20, but...
Same here. But yeah, we're having a lot of fun with it. And it's a good game.
I did the right thing with that game. I took it back before I opened it.
Oh, lame.
I played the demo a couple more times and I just know, I don't know. I would not play that for long. It feels like something I've played way too many times before, basically.
Yes.
Lame.
But it's a good game. It's fun.
Yeah, it's good.
All right, you guys have been playing The Walking Dead.
Yes.
Episode 3, right?
Episode 3 finally came out. Yeah. I didn't have to push very many buttons in this episode.
There was a whole lot of watching and not doing.
Should we say right now, spoiler warning?
Yeah, might as well.
You want to put
Let's
that up?
We're going to spoil stuff, probably, maybe. There's a chance we're going to spoil some things.
Yeah, and we were doing spoiler casts on the first season, and we had the best of intentions to do that on season 2, but hasn't really worked out.
and Phil stopped playing the game, so...
I've lost a little of my passion for it as well. I still like it. I don't like it as much as I like season 1.
Yeah.
Is it that it's just retreading ground? Is it that Clementine is in the game?
I actually think that controlling Clementine is less interesting than feeling like you're protecting Clementine. At least it is to me.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I kind of like playing as her because you get to kind of choose the way she matures, but with the way the choices she makes. But I think the writing's not as good this time.
I would agree with that as well. The characters are not as good as the cast of characters in the first season.
They're not memorable
to me.
Yeah, the new characters are. I have absolutely no attachment or even memory of any of them.
Well, and actually, that's one of the biggest problems too. And I mentioned that on our forum thread. The extra long wait between episodes has definitely done this season a disservice because I honestly don't know who the hell the people are in my group anymore. I know Clementine, I know Kenny, which I personally, by the way, I think they've made Kenny into a great character. I really do enjoy him.
It pisses me off that they're trying to make me like him because I hate that son of a bitch. It really pisses me off.
It's redemption for the first season. But you had to love the way he acted in this episode.
Yeah. That's what I mean. They're trying to make me love him. It pisses me off.
There was partway through this episode where they started talking about, I can't even remember his name, Justin, maybe? The dude that wasn't with them, but was still part of their group.
Luke?
And he was hiding. Luke, that was his name.
Yeah,
They started
I
talking
have the
about
same
Luke, and I'm
reaction
like,
to that.
who in the world is Luke? I don't remember
When
Luke.
Clementine bumps into him and like one of your choices is to hug him or say, "What are you doing here?" or whatever, my first thought was there should be an option to say, "The fuck are you? I don't remember you at all."
And to further make that an issue, this is the episode where more characters started showing up from the 400 Days.
Right.
Oh, really?
Episode, which again, I'm guessing was supposed to mean that they would have some kind of impact. But oh my god, that was so long ago.
Right.
I had vague memories of a few of them. And I'm guessing that maybe you would have seen more of them based on who joined and who didn't at the end of 400 Days. But I get nothing. I mean, I think there were two characters there that were the sisters at one point, but I can't remember. I think they were talking to each other about something. I don't know. Like, it's just all interest in those characters is gone now because it's just been too long.
Yeah. The other thing about this episode, in addition to not really getting to do very much, which is fine because I'm mostly interested in the story of the characters, that kind of thing. But you don't get to make very many decisions in this one either, which is what you do go into the Walking Dead game for, is to be able to make these tough decisions. In fact, there's only one kind of significant decision, and it's right at the end.
Yep.
And there's really only one way. Like, I can't imagine choosing the other way.
That scene wasn't going to change anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and you know what? That very final decision, if we're talking about the same thing, during the run,
yep,
at the end, really well done, presentation-wise and everything.
Totally.
Might have been one of the strongest moments in the entire series, like season 1 and 2. But yeah, it's like, and the scene before that I thought was pretty good. The other thing that I had a problem with this episode is, though, the storyline that played out where they come to this whole sort of commune and you know, they're prisoners and they rage against that and they try to escape and things like that. That felt like something that should have sort of not been encapsulated in 1 hour-and-a-half episode.
Yeah.
It felt like it needed a lot longer to gestate a little bit, and
yeah, you know, like they were skipping significant portions of it or something like that.
Yeah, because I mean, you come in and you're literally just a troublemaker from the second you walk into that group, and what they're trying to do would not work to me anyway, wouldn't work that way, because it seems like you'd want to build up some trust, and they even had a scene between Clem and another dude whose name I can't remember, the main villain, you know, where it's like there's sort of an interesting thing here. He has kind of a respect for her. Right. And you're setting up this whole shadowy reflection of each other thing happening, and it's like, that's cool.
And a whole episode would have really helped to build up the sense of dread that you got from that guy, because it was building, but it could have used another episode to really like kind of fear that guy. Because
that's just it. And I mean, like the other people that you deal with is one of the characters from 400 Days, where she has a struggle because she feels like he's actually a good man who's just under a lot of stress. And so when he does bad things, it's justified.
Right.
And it's like, you know what? If that had been building over 2 or 3 episodes, makes lots of sense. But honestly, all we know of this guy is that he's a murderous asshole.
Right.
Like, that's all he ever does. All he does is kill people. And so you hate him, and there's no reason not to hate him.
And the one thing that this episode did have going for it, I guess if you consider this a plus, I kind of do, is it did have it was one of the darker, more sinister, kind of nasty episodes that they've had in either season.
Yeah.
Which made that sort of penultimate scene between Kenny and Clem and that main villain either satisfying or disturbing or both.
Yeah, and
I guess depending on how you chose.
I do really like the choices that you got as Clem in that scene.
Did you stick around?
I didn't actually, although I did go ahead and say just shoot him.
Yeah.
I mean, I shot him and then I jumped down, and when they were sort of having that, but see, that's the thing. It's like I feel like if they'd taken the time to build up the character and made him obviously crazy and you know, like violent, but again like he's just a guy under a lot of stress who's trying to do the best and save everybody's life, like then that choice would have meant something where it's like, I don't know, but it wasn't even a choice. It was like, well, shoot him.
Yeah.
All he does is murder people. Like all he's ever done when he's been in the series is
Right.
murder people.
I will tell you that if you choose to stick around, as I did, it gets real uncomfortable.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll have to go look up a video of that.
Kenny takes him out with a tire iron.
Sweet.
With a crowbar, and it's one of those things where he's like beating his face to hamburger, and every time you think, okay, well, certainly he's done now. No, he's still pounding. Oh my God, how long is this going to go on? I'm getting a little disturbed here.
So it's almost like when he killed the dude in the first season with the salt lick.
Basically,
you weren't really expecting it. It's like,
yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he goes
but
nuts.
Yeah, I feel like this episode had a ton of potential, and the fact that they squeezed it all into 1 hour and a half long episode killed it.
Kind of hurt it. Yeah,
really hurt it. Yeah.
Agreed.
That is a shame.
They just need him to come out at a better pace.
They do. They need to not release the first one until the 5th one's almost done. Like, I don't care if you wait a month.
That would be the best idea.
Yeah. I mean, a month is a little bit much, but a month should be the absolute longest you have to wait.
Yep. Yeah. So is this, I don't recall whether you are excited about the same formula for Borderlands and or Game of Thrones or not.
I do not care about Borderlands. I've never played those games. I'm not interested. But Game of Thrones, I'm definitely interested. But I will not be buying the season pass early on.
Right. We have established that.
Yeah. I'm gonna wait. If it gets to the point where it's like, hey, it's $12 for the season pass, I'll grab it.
Okay.
But
the formula is not wearing thin on you. Like the game design formula is you're still hunky dory with that.
I am, but honestly, this episode in particular kind of makes me worry a little bit because I feel like if they're going to let their stories start to get too big for their formula,
it's starting to creak a little bit, starting to strain.
Yeah, because I mean, like I said, what was in this episode could have easily encapsulated like a half season or more.
Yeah,
and been interesting the whole time, but they just didn't. They shoved too much into this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of storytelling,
great
segue, right? Right, Greg?
It depends on what comes next.
I've been reading Console Wars by Blake Harris, and I know
that Harris,
Greg Seward has been as well.
Mm-hmm.
That came out last week, Tuesday, in both ebook, and audiobook formats.
CJ doesn't like to read words, so
I'm listening to the audiobook instead of podcasts for the most part. And the guy who's narrating does voices for a lot of the characters in the book, like Shinobu Toyoda. And Nakayama. He'll like put on a an Asian accent.
Oh my god,
that sounds like a nightmare.
It's like who did they get to do the audiobooks for Harry Potter? In the UK, the actor they got to do the audiobooks for Harry Potter, he did the same thing. He did like all these
voices,
little voices for everyone, all kinds of different accents, and
yeah. So you got some voices in the audiobook. That makes it worth listening to for sure. But if you've not heard about this book, it sort of chronicles the history of mostly Sega of America, from the time of the Genesis on through to the introduction of the Saturn.
Pretty much.
And along the way, it stops and does a little bit of Nintendo stuff as well, doing a lot of recapping from Game Over, actually, in some of those early chapters.
Yeah, in the early chapters, definitely it feels like a synopsis from Game Over.
Yeah. But just a super interesting account of mainly Tom Kalinski's Sega of America and how they made the Genesis competitive against a Nintendo. And it's just a really, really great book. A lot of really super interesting stories about these people. And I'm I'm loving the book. I think it's great. And now getting up to the point where I had actually started going to summer consumer electronics shows. So when they're describing things like Nintendo's booth where they had the Super Nintendo for the first time, I was there for that. And so it's pretty crazy to hear stories about that particular show. So
yeah, it's it's chronicling sort of it's the rise and fall really of Sega of America, and I think it's a really interesting time. I'm glad that the book's being done, for obvious reasons. I'm a big Sega fan, but I also think it's a really important.
You're a big Sega fan.
I've been told that I am. I don't think I am. But no, I think it's really important for a few reasons. One is that the 16-bit, the early 90s was a really exciting time in the video game industry in North America. I mean, Nintendo had a monopoly, and Sega broke it, basically. And it's not really a story that's been told with a whole lot of detail before, so
right,
that's pretty nice to see. Plus, I mean, he's done you can tell that put in the time on this. I mean, he did a ton of interviews. There's a ton of information in there I find personally. I mean, I've been writing notes the whole time I've been reading.
Wow, you are a nerd.
Pages of notes.
Jesus.
Yeah. But I mean, it's really
highlighting
cool.
passages.
Yeah.
I've now underlined more passages in Console Wars than in my New Testament.
Pretty much. Yeah. As soon as I discovered the iBooks highlighting feature, I started using it. But no, you get insight into things like, the way that Sega of America worked with Sega of Japan on Sonic to make it more, U.S. friendly, and sort of insights into how we got to the Sega Scream, which is kind of cool. And actual dates on when all that stuff happened, which is big to me because of Generation 16. Yeah, and the nice thing too that this book has happened is because the whole Retronauts thing and retro gaming in general has become a big thing. But the history of this industry is so Nintendoized. Like everybody and their dog knows the story of Nintendo and the NES and all that stuff, and it's like once you get to the early 90s, it just disappears, and it's like, oh yeah, and there were other consoles, but eventually Nintendo won until Sony came along, and so it's nice to get some more detail here, because this book even explores the relationship between Sega and Sony before the PlayStation. So there's some interesting stuff in there, really interesting stuff in there.
Yeah, I did not know, and apparently, Greg, you told me that this was common knowledge. I had absolutely no idea that John Madden Football and Joe Montana Football are the same game with some swapped out assets. I had
pretty much
no idea that was the thing. That's
when I say common knowledge, that was kind of stupid. It isn't common knowledge, but if it's something that you've ever had any interest in, the information's out there.
Yeah. I had no idea.
Yeah. But that's the type of stuff you get in that book. I also want to thank Blake because the timeline that he has for some of the stuff in his book didn't jive with the timeline that I have for some of the stuff for Generation 16. So I actually reached out to him and said, hey, I've got these dates, and I'm just curious because your dates are different. What am I missing here? And he actually sent me some clips and some of the interview stuff that he did. It was really cool of him to help me sort of suss out what was wrong with the information I had for Generation 16. So that's great. Thank you very much for that. We're actually trying to get Blake on the show at some point.
Yeah, and he's on Back in My Play this week.
Today.
As well. They did an episode, with him. A 2-hour interview, which sounds awesome. Can't wait to listen to that. But yeah, it's a fantastic book. Worth picking up for sure if you have any interest in that era.
But it's very much told from the Sega perspective. Tom Kalinske is the main character in the book.
Yeah.
The protagonist.
He is the hero protagonist.
You can tell that they're going to be making a movie of this because the book reads like a film script, pretty much.
Really?
It does.
So, yeah. It's a narrative. It's not a bunch of collected facts. It's actually done in narrative style, so.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, which I think makes it just all the more interesting to read. Yes, indeed. All right, so
I'm reading 10th of December, which is a collection of short stories by George Saunders, and it's excellent.
It's close to the same thing,
take
really.
That.
Does that also follow the rise and fall of Sega?
It doesn't mention video games at all, oddly.
That's weird.
Neither is the other book that I'm reading, which is called Three Stories, which is a collection of previously unknown, unreleased stories by J.D. Salinger, and it's really good as well. So there.
And the Old Testament, right? You're always reading
also reading the Old Testament. Yeah. Yes.
Always, never stopped.
Mm-hmm.
All right. How about we?
Every time Mike talks, I just see his nose and his eyes.
There we go. All right. How about we do some tweets? What do you think?
We got some.
I got time.
All right. Let's do this one from Hacker Alias Feature Preacher, who says, now that the Xbox One is a $400 console that plays games worse than the PS4, will anyone wait for a GDDR5 revision or another price cut? Haven't we talked about this before on the show?
Yeah, we have. I think you actually had this tweet on last week or the week before. Isn't this an old tweet?
This is not an old tweet. This is
really?
19H ago.
19H ago, okay.
Yeah. So.
I mean, are they going to do another? Why would they do another revision, I guess?
If they do that, they really are nuts.
Yeah.
If they do a revision, they could cut out the HDMI pass-through stuff. They could cut some of that stuff. But do you really think they're going to add capabilities when they're struggling to sell?
I guess that's what I mean. They can only remove things. I don't see how they can add
I don't see how they can add. Yeah. Because otherwise you turn your back on everybody who has bought. I mean, they've already kind of turned their back on everybody who's bought into the system.
Well, that's
a little much, but okay.
That's why the notion of, we're going to reclaim this 10% graphics power that the Kinect was using and harness that for game. I don't see them doing that either, just because it screws people over.
Yeah.
Who already had it. I just don't get doing that.
Yeah, I don't either.
So no, I wouldn't hold my breath for an improved revision or SKU if you fancy that.
Another price cut? I honestly don't know if we'll see that. The only way we would see that is if Sony does something first.
Yeah. Although, it's still, that would help them. They can't do it this soon, but it is weird to say, okay, you could now buy the less powerful system for the same price. It's still not a great message. It's better than you can buy the less powerful system for $100 more.
Yeah.
But it is still not a great message.
Yeah, and price cuts, if you look back at the last generation, price cuts were pretty rare. You often saw a lot of retailer deals and pack-ins on that stuff.
Yeah. One of the other things that I really loved hearing this week, just related to this, not directly to the tweet, but just in relation to this Kinectless SKU, is people saying, thanks a lot, nerds, you ruined everything, and the idea that Microsoft is pandering to a vocal minority, which I heard a number of times. I thought to myself, I don't think they would do that because that's not where the money is.
I don't think that's the case, but the gamble is that the unvocal majority will want to purchase the system based on these changes.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, it has less to do with people bitching about it on Twitter, as in nothing to do with that, and more to do with whatever market research they've already done, and it's probably not even based on what their position is currently, but what their projections are for the end of this year in 2015, based on what they know is coming and the way they see things trending.
Right. Exactly. Based off of the first 4 months of actual sales.
Yeah, just the idea that somehow people complaining on Twitter had an influence on this.
No, because complaining on Twitter.
When has that ever happened?
Complaining on Twitter, as you know, is just a fart in the wind.
It is a fart in the wind.
Was that what you were looking for? Someone to reference that?
I was hoping I could get a little cooch.
Fell right into that trap.
Which sounds vulgar, but is not. Somebody give me a little cooch.
Yeah. Let's do this one from Hacker Alias Khalil2000, who asks, seeing as how the Vita really isn't selling all too well, how far are they from having to do a price drop?
I don't think it would sell very well with a price drop.
Me neither.
So I don't know what they do.
Price drops, again, it's like one of those things that a lot of people come back to. Well, they should just drop the price. That'll solve all of their problems. When in actuality, like a price drop is a very limited thing. Like you drop the price, and then what do you have to promote next month? Like what do you have to build on that? Once you are at a lower price, you can't. You need something else to leverage that. You need
regardless,
games.
Exactly. Regardless of the
more.
price, people need a reason to want your system.
Right.
Yes.
So you can make it $25, and that doesn't mean people.
Isn't the Vita already $199 at this point?
I think so.
And wasn't the same sort of thing like a price drop to $199 will really turn their fortunes around? Wasn't that the same thing that was said before they did that one? Right. And that hasn't really worked so well.
You know, I still love my Vita. I still play it pretty much every day.
Yeah, the Vita is a great system, but apparently it's just not something that people want.
Only the vocal minority want it, I guess.
That was the reason they brought it out in the first place.
Yeah.
Right, of course.
It's created for the vocal minority.
Yeah.
Of course. All right, let's do this one from Hacker Alias Gimme Mo 69.
I can be behind that.
I think we all want a little Mo 69.
Yeah. Is there a chance that Sony will announce a 1 terabyte version of the PS4 at E3 for next holiday season? I need to pull the trigger on that.
Of the PS3?
PS4. Sorry, did I say PS3?
I thought you did. I could be wrong.
I thought you did.
PS4. 1 terabyte version of the PS4 at E3.
Sure. Why not? I mean, maybe that's what they do instead of cutting the price. They say now it's $399 and has twice the hard drive space, because that probably doesn't cost much of anything.
Is that something that people base their purchasing decisions on?
If not,
probably not. It would be. I mean, it would be a lot nicer for the PS3 than the PS4, which is why I was asking, because there's stuff to put on the hard drive of the PS3, exactly. As it turns out.
Yeah.
I clean that thing every week.
I have a 500 gigabyte hard drive in my PS3, and I think I've still got like 100 gigs left.
What is wrong with you?
I have a 640, and it's getting pretty snug.
I've been downloading a lot too, so
yeah.
I don't know. Do people care about the hard drive space? I mean, I don't think Sony will start doing that until the point at which they can lower the price and offer more space. Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, that would be crazy. $350 with a 1 terabyte hard drive.
You're definitely going to see pack-ins before you see an increase in hard drive space, I think, personally. Probably. Yeah. All right, let's see. Let's do this one from Hacker Alias Penn Wisen, who's also on our forums. And he asks, there is so much doom and gloom in the press regarding the Wii U. What can Nintendo do to change that thinking? Will Mario Kart 8 help?
I think Mario Kart 8 certainly will help the system. I don't know if it'll help the doom and gloom in the press.
Right.
I don't know how Nintendo turns that around, though, in general. I don't know that Mario Kart 8 will be enough.
Well, I think it's probably going to be the worst-selling Mario Kart in history.
I've done a little research on it, and I have to concur.
I have some pie charts that I could share with you on the matter.
I love pie.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the days of the whole one game is going to turn this thing around is over for anyone, for Nintendo or Microsoft or Sony. Like, that's just not the case. Like when the Vita came out and the Vita sales started lagging, people are like, "Oh, well, just wait until Killzone comes out," or such like that, and that didn't happen. Like nobody ended up caring about the one title enough to spike sales. It just doesn't seem to happen.
You're talking about Vita, and we all know that handheld gaming is dead because of Hearthstone.
Yeah, but I don't even think that you can necessarily attribute the 3DS turning around to one particular title. To me, that was a line of games that came
It's
out
a multi-pronged attack.
in fairly quick succession that started to turn that boat around. So,
well, that's just it, right? I think that you can still have the one game that starts to build momentum.
Yes.
For sure, but yeah, then you need to come out with good stuff quickly afterwards to keep going. I mean, otherwise, it's just a fart in the wind.
Exactly. Penn also asks, are there any game journalists / bloggers that Born and Rage actually likes and respects?
I am interested about this. Oh, nobody?
No one?
Maybe I don't waste hours of every week listening to all of them jabber on.
Yeah, I don't know.
Nobody?
I'm sure there's someone out there, but they're not the ones who get retweeted in my feed and make me pissed off, so I don't see what they write.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess just Lee Alexander.
Oh no, now we're going to have that one guy tweet
That's the whole reason that I said her name.
That's the joke.gif.
Yep, just
Lee.
That's
so
it.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
So good. All right, let's do this one from Hacker Alias Man of Steel 3432. How can the Xbox One pass up the PS4 in sales now that they are the same price?
Your Xbox One has the momentum of a runaway freight train.
I think it will probably
pass so popular?
The PS4 in North America. That doesn't even seem. I don't know. That does not seem like a controversial opinion, just considering how much the Xbox dominated here last generation. I can totally see that happening again if they cost the same.
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily happen, right? I mean, the
doesn't
most
necessarily.
popular system doesn't always mean that they're going to be popular in the next generation. Even if you have backwards compatibility, doesn't mean that.
Actually, in the last couple generations, that's kind of what happened, right? I mean, PS2 owned the world, and then suddenly it was the Wii, and now the Wii U is kind of in shit, and
right.
Sony again right now, although they haven't got a huge lead.
I'm not saying it will happen. I'm just saying that I don't think it would be all that surprising in this territory for that to happen.
I think part of it too is once one system has a larger install base than the other, the social aspect starts to kick in. Like, what do my friends have? What are my friends playing?
Which is one of the problems with their early blunders is there are so many people now that, well, I just went with the PS4 because the Xbox seemed like a clusterfuck. And now
hell, look how long it took Sony to get past the blunders on the PS3. I mean, how far into the PS3's life were you hearing about how online play sucked and it had no games? And it's like, okay, that was true in the first 3 months, but you're still hearing things like that 3 years later.
Right.
Yeah.
Are you swatting flies, Greg?
I'm scratching my back. This is my back scratcher.
Okay. Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
Spend too much time.
I wash myself with a rag on a
stick. Very handy. All right, let's do this one from Hacker Alias RI108, who says, I guess this is more of a topic. The press taking a dump on the excellent Vita version of Borderlands 2 because it's not identical to the PS3 version.
See, again, I think that's another good example of early impressions that just haven't gone away, because I think one of the things that Sony did wrong with the Vita from the start was saying it's as good as the PS3.
Right. Yeah.
Everything looks as good as the PS3, and it bit them because nothing looked as good as the PS3. It all looked really good.
Sure.
But now it's like, okay, we've gotten past the point where we all realize that they don't look like PS3 games, but there's the press rolling out this old bullshit again where it's like, oh, it should look like PS3. It's ridiculous.
Well,
it's so hard to get rid of those initial impressions.
I think in a review you should mention because anyone who's interested in buying it is probably going to make a comparison, but you shouldn't have that be the driving force behind whatever score you're going to end up giving it, right? Because if you're looking at it as this is Borderlands 2, a portable version of Borderlands 2, how does that stack up? Like, does it deliver the gameplay that you're expecting from that, rather than visuals?
Right.
Yeah.
But apparently not. All right. You guys want to do any tweets? You see any tweets in here that you like? While you guys are looking, we could do this one from hacker alias Dalton D89, who says, Tiger's LCD games were a big deal for someone like me, poor and born in '89. Do you guys have any memories of LCD games? I had I had the Tiger version of Double Dragon.
Embarrassingly, I have more memories of LED games, like Mattel's football game. That were just literally red dashes on the screen.
That is embarrassing.
I played that game forever. Like, we used to, every car trip, I would have that stupid Mattel football game and play it for the entire car trip.
Was there volume control on that thing?
It. There was not.
Your parents must have loved that.
My parents were not a fan of that incessant whistle-blowing noise at the end of every single play.
It's amazing.
But that game was, oh god, that game was so good at the time. It was just unbelievable.
My bigger memory is probably those little mini arcade.
Oh yeah.
Ones you could get, especially Pac-Man. My god. My cousin had that little mini arcade version of Pac-Man. We played that to death.
I think I've got one of those back there somewhere.
Yeah, the Tiger ones I never really got into.
Did you guys you're too young to have had a Merlin, right?
Yeah.
What was a Merlin?
I didn't have a Merlin.
It was a handheld game thing that it was an LED system, and basically you could play tic-tac-toe and a bunch of other little stupid games on it.
I don't think we had one, but I do remember playing something like that.
Man, I love that thing.
I had the Donkey Kong dual screen Game & Watch. That was awesome.
Game & Watch is for nerds.
Game & Watch is great. I flipped the score in that game. I was so obsessed with it and good at that game. Yeah.
Here's another fun game I had. This was not a handheld, but it's another demonstration of how old I am. One Christmas, I got a game from my parents called I Took a Lickin' from a Chicken. And it was literally, it was an electronic tic-tac-toe game with an animated chicken, like a physical chicken who would cluck out his moves against you, and you played tic-tac-toe against a little animatronic chicken.
Huh. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Is it though?
What? Okay.
Anyway, I'm old.
Back away
slowly. Is I'm old.
Back away slowly.
What the hell was the tic-tac-toe game? It was the 4 lit buttons. Shit, I just had it while you were talking about the stupid chicken thing.
I took a licking from a chicken. It rhymes.
What the hell was it called? Everybody I knew had one. It was just tic-tac-toe. Not tic-tac-toe. What am I talking about?
Merlin.
No, it wasn't tic-tac-toe. It was just like a memory. Simon. That's
Simon?
right. Simon.
Oh, Simon.
Yeah.
Sure. Everybody had
I
Simon.
love Simon.
Yeah.
Simon was awesome.
And Pocket Simon, which was too big to actually fit in a pocket.
Like all pocket electronics back in the day. Who the hell's pocket does this fit into?
I saved my Pocket Simon until FUBU became popular so that I could use those pockets to hold it.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a very good one.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, any of you got some tweets?
Let's have this fight. Hacker alias Team Ortiz wants to know best city for pizza.
Ah, yes.
Well, CJ's biased.
So, well, slightly. Just a little.
All right, CJ, what's the best city for pizza?
I like all the flavors of our pizza rainbow.
So what's the best city for pizza?
What's the best city for pizza?
I'm going to say Chicago, of course.
I got to go with Chicago, too. I've never, maybe I just haven't had the right New York pizza, but...
I will say, I do love me some New York pizza. When in New York, I do partake in the za
You slam some za?
Slamming some za.
Matt, by the way, I started
Slam
saying
za.
that at home, and everyone hates my guts here now. I mean, more. They hate my guts more. But, yeah, that is not a popular phrase in my house.
Yeah. But I do love me some Chicago style too.
I miss Chicago deep dish pizza.
I am going to cast my vote for Naples.
That doesn't count.
What
What do they know
doesn't
about
count?
pizza?
Oh my
What do they know
God.
about pizza?
I'm telling you, VPN. That's the pizza. That's what you got to go with. Vera Pizza Napoletana. That's it. That's pizza.
All right.
VPN or GTFO.
What you got to do is come up to Nova Scotia and get yourself a donair, and then you'll never want to eat pizza again because you've
There you
discovered
go.
God's food.
That is some good shit right there.
I don't even know what a donair is.
That's why you need to come to Nova Scotia. And don't look for imitators because
What
they're
about
not the same.
poutine? What about poutine?
Yeah, poutine I can take or leave.
Yeah. All right, let's do this one from Acrelli's Tripon01, who says, there's a rumor Nintendo will offer a 3DS revision
Jesus.
soon. Thoughts on that?
God. Here comes CJ's monologue.
What's that? What do you mean?
I don't know. This is
I
your
would,
cause célèbre.
I think I've said it on the show before, maybe even last week,
And on the message board and on Twitter,
that I would be interested in a 3DS revision. Sure.
Messenger.
That made it thinner, lighter, better battery, had more memory to do background stuff like the Miiverse. I would be all about that.
What's the Miiverse?
Exactly. So yeah, if they do it, fantastic. They apparently did remove the OG 3DS from Nintendo's website. Now it's just
No
the XL,
longer a 3D ice cream sandwich on the market.
the XL and the 2DS on there. So
Does that mean my OG 3DS is worth something now?
now it's retro. So yeah.
Man, that was an
Damn.
ugly, uncomfortable piece of hardware.
I look at that now and I can't
Ugh.
believe how tiny the screen is on that thing. I don't know
It's
what.
tiny.
Yeah, it's
teeny
bad.
tiny.
I don't know how normal humans can use it.
I still have a DSi in my house because my daughter won't let me trade hers in. She loves her DSi for some reason. That's
What does she play on?
The finish on it.
Oh, the matte finish
Yeah, it's really nice. I wish
It
they
is a
would.
little nice
They
piece of
they need to do that with the
on the
3DS.
3DS. Maybe they will. Maybe you will get your wish granted in a
Sleek
few
and
weeks.
sexy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm still happy with this big boy.
3DS Micro. We're gonna go the other
3DS
way with
Micro.
it. Yep.
You have to go cross-eyed to get the 3D effect to work at all.
Yep. The announcement will be you can now use the 3DS with 2 iPhones pushed together, and all the games will be on the App Store.
Just straps one to each, just like that.
Yep.
Well, Nintendo did announce they're doing a Mario Kart TV app for smartphones. Don't know if you caught that
Yes.
news. So
Mario Kart 8 looks really good.
it does. It really does. And we'll be doing tournaments on that too.
Yeah, we'll spend 2 or 3 weeks fucking
And
around
that will
doing
languish.
a tournament, and then we'll figure it out, and we
Yeah.
can do tournaments.
Well, the problem with the Mario Golf tournament was that we were going to do like a tournament a day.
Yeah, it was a little much.
Sounds like a lot.
That was way too much. That was not going to be sustainable for very long.
I appreciate
And
the ambition.
It turned out that it was only sustainable for like 2 or 3 days. There you go. All right, I think that's it. What do you think about that?
I'm down.
Time of death, 2:28 p.m.
2:28
Eastern Time.
Eastern. Yeah. And that is our show for this week. Thanks for listening. You can direct your comments, feedback, etc. to @P1Podcast on the Twitter, or we have an internet website at player1podcast.com. There you will find blog entries. You can comment on an episode there, like if you don't want to make a forum post or something like that. You can comment on the blog post that goes up on player1podcast.com. We've also got a message board where you can discuss this very episode with us and our other listeners.
Yes, at player1podcast.com. If you would like to subscribe to Player One Podcast, you can do so by visiting our website or visiting the iTunes Music Store. While you're at the iTunes Music Store, you can invest $1.99 for
Cheap.
our iPhone app. Thank you, CJ. gives you communication with us. I'm not going to go into the specifics.
Why do we not assume that people who are listening to this have already subscribed?
We don't assume that.
We don't. Some have not.
I'm saying, why don't
we don't
may be
need
listening
to beg.
via the interweb, via the web browser, or via Stitcher Radio. They may not have
a friend's car.
Yeah, maybe they are. Yeah.
Huh.
Maybe they got the link from a friend.
And hey, if you have an Android cell phone, you can also get an app for your device through some sort of store.
The Amazon Android App Store. Correct.
Amazon Android App Store.
That's right.
For $1.99 American, which is like $5 Canadian.
That's also pretty cheap. Yeah.
That's it. That's all I got.
Yes, indeed.
Hey, I'm gonna go on record. Generation 16, episode 12. Look for it on Monday.
All right.
Coming out on Monday.
Are you going to do something special
Monday or next Monday?
Tomorrow.
Okay.
Well, tomorrow is
Generation 16, episode 16. I think you should do something special for that.
Yeah.
Just be a black screen for 35 minutes.
That's good. I like that.
Okay.
Sounds good. All right. Should we do this again next week?
Maybe Phil will show up.
We will. But don't stop recording because we have to record the intro now to this show.
I genuinely don't understand this, but okay.
Bye.
And what I want to do is...
Oh, God.
I love that people are going to watch us do this. It's going to be a train wreck.
Do you want me to stop the...
I don't care. No, what the hell?
That's fine.
We've made fools of ourselves in the past. Why not?
Let's show them how the sausage is made.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah. So, I thought it'd be fun if we did if we just said who we are. Like, go around the room like I'm...
Man, that sounds...
Rick. I'm Mike.
That sounds really fun. You are right. There's nothing I enjoy more than saying my name. Like when I'm bored on a Saturday, sometimes I'll just sit around in my basement and just, hey, I'm Mike. How you doing?
How you doing?
I love it. This is great. So go ahead.
Go ahead, CJ.
You think I'm going to start? Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, this is your stupid idea.
I'm CJ. Yeah, hello.
Fuck this idea. I can't help but think that this is somehow part of an elaborate prank that you're pulling, and it goes into something else entirely.
It might be. It could be. All right, but you guys are gonna do your thing.
I'm Greg.
I didn't.
Hey, how you doing, all you lovely guys and dolls out there? This is Mike.
And this is episode 393 of the Player One Podcast for Monday, May 19th, 2014.
I didn't realize we were doing our radio voices.
I feel filthy.
You should.
Filthy bald.
That's it.
All right.
Done.
Mike, so I want you to know, had I still been a regular on the show when you submitted your art, we would be using
the Welco Metot version.
Goddamn right.
The Welco Metot version.
Yeah.
See, you get me, and that's why I dig you.
We're in sync, brother.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go eat